Hi everyone, Rethany Grettano here, the internet's busiest music nerd, and it's time for a review of the new Jeff Rosenstock album, Post. New York singer-songwriter Jeff Rosenstock, once the frontman for the band Bomb the Music Industry, contemporary punk band that had some decent records in the 2000s, wasn't crazy about them myself, but that is partially why when Jeff went solo, I was not so intrigued, not so sitting on the edge of my seat to hear that. However, I feel like he really kind of came through and wowed me in this solo capacity, especially when he broke through with records like We Cool. That was in 2012. Not only was there a punk rock aesthetic on this record, but also a power pop one too. Like Jeff's songwriting really shined through this punk rock sound with these really memorable, kind of funny, self-effacing songs that were really catchy, anthemic, and kind of revealing too toward Jeff's character, getting down right to the nitty-gritty of his emotional problems and anxiety and neuroses. Now, on Jeff's follow-up album, Worry, the lyrics got a bit more political, the production got a little bit rougher, and the overall flow of the album was a bit more seamless, almost like I was listening to some kind of punk rock opus or concept record. And Jeff is essentially striking while the iron is hot, following that record up with this new album over here just over a year later. He also recently hit fans up with that Dramamine single back in 2017. But again, here we now have Post. This is 10 tracks, 40 minutes, and it contains material that almost feels like a little bit of a reiteration of Jeff's last album, Worry, which is not necessarily a bad thing. In a lot of ways, Worry is his best record yet. He is a very compelling singer and songwriter. He displays a great amount of conviction in his songs, but also he's very good at playing this dejected sad sack angle that kind of reminds you of who the big boys are and who the pretenders are, who don't really kind of have that emotionally cutting delivery or writing style, and instead just trying to force an emotional reaction out of their audience. Jeff's music and writing just has this power behind it, in my opinion, that kind of makes the individual listening feel small and makes them conscious of the fact that they're kind of being ground up in modern society's gears. And that is the case with this new record over here, especially when Jeff is kind of building on a lot of what he did on Worry with longer, more massive, more gargantuan, and epic songs. The song USA is a prime example of that. It's 7 minutes long and undergoes multiple shifts in these epic musical punk rock passages. Lyrically, Jeff kind of flips through all of these pictures of I guess, his emotional numbness toward American culture. Some cashier at like a corner store or something giggling, and a dad driving badly in a crossover with his family. All of this builds up to this amazing, huge, powerful refrain of, "We're tired, we're poor," that really just kind of takes all the pent-up anger and the aggravation of everything Jeff has been singing about up until that point just out into full throttle. The song Let Them Win is similarly anthemic and fed up. There is a huge power struggle theme going on in this track. The song builds up into this massive whoa-oh-oh chorus and eventually kind of coasts out into this very beautiful, serene, ambient drone that pretty much sees the album out. Another songwriting highlight that stuck out for me had to be 9 out of 10, which didn't stick with me because it's as big and as epic as some of the other tracks on this record. Rather, it's a very sad, modest song with antisocial lyrics and a very sad tune. And listening to this track, I can't help but literally envision Jeff Rosenstock just stoned and bummed out on the subway. The issue I have with a good deal of this record, though, is that its tunes and its slightly sloppy performances aren't quite as exciting and as up to snuff as they were on Worry. And even when they are, it just kind of feels like Jeff is going through the motions, or this is just kind of like an average moment for him. I would say the overall quality of this record is almost on par with We Cool. It's kinda almost there. But is there a track on this thing among the 2 to 3 minute cuts that is as catchy and smart and novel as Hey Allison or Hall of Fame or especially Nausea? The closest I think Jeff comes to doing that on this record is the dreary alt-rock ballad TV Stars. TV Stars don't care about who you are. Yeah, I mean, honestly, they probably don't. Celebrities probably don't really care about you, yet we are so infatuated with them. Like, something to consider as we yet again float the idea of electing another celebrity president. Come on, guys. Come on. But honestly, a lot of the faster, harder, punchier cuts on here, while they are decent, they just kind of run as like a blur for me. Beating My Head Against a Wall has to be one of Jeff's most insipid songs yet, like not really his most inspired writing, especially from a lyrical standpoint. I feel like tracks like Melba, Powerlessness, Your Throat also lack a certain kind of stickiness and excitement for Jeff. Jeff's solo discography isn't even that vast right now, and yet he somehow hit this peak of predictability with these several tracks. I wouldn't say they're terrible songs though, still listenable, still somewhat enjoyable. There's just not a whole lot about this record that's making me want to come back to the entire thing. You know, there are a couple tracks that felt really epic, really ambitious, some of Jeff's best material yet. A couple songs that really pulled at my heartstrings, but outside of that, much of the album just came off average to me. You know, the record is likable, but it doesn't stand out outside of a few cuts. I'm feeling a decent to strong 6 on this thing. Tran? Zishin. Have you given this album a listen? Did you love it? Did you hate it? What would you rate it? You're the best. You're the best. What should I review next? Hit the like if you like. Please subscribe, and please don't cry. Just leave a thoughtful comment in the comments if you're feeling thoughtful. Over here next to my head, another video to check out. Click on that or click on the link to subscribe to the channel. I'll see you in the next one. Anthony Fantano, Jeff Rosenstock, Post, forever.